All right, y'all. How we doing? Good. That's about the level of energy I think I'm feeling. Okay, thank you. Right up in front, we got it.
It's the end of the day.
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
session.
The end of the day, and so this is just like a funny enough thing. I was a customer before I came to Domo. It's 2016. Worked with my buddy here a little bit to start doing some embedded analytics. We tried to find a way to build out reporting in our product, and I'm an engineer, so I was a little lazy. Thought there's got to be a better way to do this, and started looking at ways we can speed up our roadmap and do different things. Anyways, the end of that being, I've never been to Domopalooza. I've been here for 3 years, never been, so I showed up, and I was just like super excited, really glad to meet a lot of people. I've had a chance to meet Clint, obviously, and some others in person. But the other thing I forgot is these things are exhausting. These conferences, just tired. So yeah, it's good to be here. I'm glad we're at the finish line. We got some fun at the end tonight, and hopefully everyone will leave with something fun. Here with my friend Clint Johnson from MX. I met Clint for the first time maybe 9 months ago, maybe a little more than that. And Clint from MX they're doing really great things with not just Domo, but then ways to accelerate their product. And so we're just going to talk through a little bit more of what they're doing. We'll have some time at questions at the end, and we'll just chat through what we have here and learn a little bit more about Clint's story. But Clint, I don't need to talk for you. You can
Keep talking all you want.
Yeah, you're tired too. Why don't you just kind of share a little bit more about what you're doing, about yourself, about MX, and just kind of set the stage a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and super glad to be here. We love Domo. We've used Domo for a long time. I've been at MX about 5 years, and Domo was our core BI product long before I came to MX. I remember going into the MX offices. We're just down the freeway, actually, right across the street from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the neighborhood. But I remember going into the offices the very first time, and huge information radiators all over the wall about sales metrics, platform status, really cool things. So I was right at home. I'm a long-time data and BI guy, most of that in financial services. So built data warehouses. This will date me a little bit, but used to go around installing tools like Cognos and Business Objects, and the forerunners to what I think maybe are modern analytics platforms.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. You led the way for us.
Of course. No, the tools we have today are so amazing compared to what we used to have to do, and it's a lot of fun. For those of you that may not be familiar with MX, if you have a mobile banking app, chances are MX powers the whole thing or part of it behind the scenes. We make mobile and desktop banking software for about close to 2,000 financial institutions in the United States. Everything from the smallest, community credit union, sometimes it's a credit union that's in the basement of a building somewhere, all the way up to very, very large national brands. Because of that, we're fortunate to have financial data on somewhere around 50 million Americans that sits on our platform. So a really rich corpus of data from which to glean insights and build some powerful products out of all of that. Our mission at MX is to empower the world to be financially strong. That's a tall order just for a single company to do. And so when we work with financial institutions, we really go into that with the partnership idea, like how do we help your customers, how do we help the banks, the credit unions, even the fintechs lift up and provide better financial experiences, better financial opportunities to their end users and customers. It's great, a lot of fun.
The more that I've learned about it, the more exciting it's been just to kind of, I love the mission statement of helping the end user be financially strong. Just the idea of you are serving a customer base that's serving a customer base, but in that you are serving that end customer through all of it. It's just like very complicated, a lot of problems that can come in that. And I know you're looking at just kind of like different ways to use the products that you have to solve these problems for not only your customers, kind of all the way through. Just kind of talk through what problems you saw, what things you were trying to solve, and then,
Absolutely. When I came to MX, the mission was certainly inspiring. And our lead products were always these end user experiences, so mobile apps, widgets that get embedded in banking desktops and so forth. But we didn't have much in the way of tooling back for our financial institution clients. They could always get platform status and look at trends about how many users, how many accounts are out there. But we were really lacking on the way to deliver these insights and help empower them in this mission that we've got. We had some basic products, analytic products. They sat on top of our internal data warehouse. And they would surface some things, but man, those legacy products were really hard to maintain. They were all home built, a lot of JavaScript in the background, a lot of very custom coding, and there just was not enough people in the engineering team to dedicate towards really maintaining and building and growing that tooling, at least the way it was built then.
Yeah.
And so we were looking for ways like how do we just start tapping into all of this data? You think about the financial transactions, the insights that are there. Think about your own financial data, right? Your not only where else you have banking relationships. Maybe you have a checking account with Wells Fargo. You have a mortgage payment that goes out to U.S. Bank, right? You have credit card payments, but also embedded in all of that transaction detail is where you shop, where you eat, what charities you service, how much you transfer to your children, right? Spending allowances, and within all of that, I think are the building blocks of what it really takes to help move people on a financial journey.
Yeah.
We get really good signals out of that data. You know how people spend and invest their discretionary income, right? Get rid of the debt payments, get rid of your mortgage payment, and then take where they're spending. There are some powerful signals of need or interest that come out of that. And so our mission really with the analytics program was to let's develop that. We're gonna apply our data analysts and our data science team. We're gonna build out those insights. But we've got to have a really good way to deliver those out to end clients.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna get things into their hands.
I feel like even so, some of us just kind of on the financial end, closing Mint and ending that, we may have a small picture of if you had to move away from that to do something with that, just how many transactions and how many sources and accounts we have individually. But then I can imagine from a product engineering standpoint, that must have been overwhelming. Like, holy buckets, we like at the scale of what you're talking about, and then how do we build toward that? What did you find a way to do that with Domo and distribute that first? Did you build those in parallel? Just kind of talk about how you took that complexity and what stuff you could find in the building process around that.
No, certainly so. We felt like we had something compelling. It was going to take a while for us to really figure out what we wanted and how to build this, just because of the scale, right? There's some serious engineering to get all the bells and whistles and get it all automated and serving up what we wanted to. But we started this off actually as a consulting type of an engagement. We had a few financial institutions that were really interested in this. They had our old legacy products. They had been voicing concerns like, you guys got to do better, right? There are modern tools out here. Help us out.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like, yes, let's put those to use. And literally the first few iterations of this, we were using we had a dedicated instance of Domo just for these consulting engagements. And we would hand code up the SQL extracts out of the data warehouse, pipe them into Domo, and build dashboard pages, and then literally give Domo dashboard pages out to some of the users at these financial institutions. That's how we got started.
Huh. So that was a subset of. So I don't know if I knew this part of your story. So your customers came to you just like, you got to give us something better. So you didn't necessarily have to find a subset of customers to, hey, we built this thing, we want to try something. They came to you, and you're able to kind of adapt to that.
They were clamoring.
Oh, wow.
And they always, as you talk to them, right, they're going to have use cases like, really, help us work on a financial health model, or this was back when interest rates were much lower. Like, we really want to go find new mortgage customers. We want to find mortgage opportunities or opportunities to sell. And so we had some really great use cases to work with. It was interesting that the first few times that we did this, because we would load up the data, design the dashboards, and actually, we'd have a little kickoff event, show the financial institution the dashboards. None of the ones that we were working with had Domo or even similar tools. They were really stuck on the legacy business objects and Cognos mentality. And so there was a lot of oohs and ahs as they
You're a
saw
magician.
this. No, it was. The joke was it's another time for data candy show and tell.
I like that.
But not only were we able to surface these insights, but there was a really great user experience that they got out of it.
Oh yeah.
Highly interactive, very polished looking. They didn't have experience with that, and so they really we got great signals out of them saying, "Oh, we want more of this. We want more of that."
Yeah.
And so then we're starting to think about, okay, we've got to take this and turn this into a real product. We have to put real engineering resources behind it. And what does that roadmap really look like? Because I don't know that we wanted to just give out a pure a Domo interface to everybody. There's an audience for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of these teams, right, they're business users. They want their data. They want to see interactions. Maybe they want to couple it with other things and go about their business. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of product decisions to make, but that's how we got going.
Yeah, we can talk more just kind of how that delivery mechanism is done. I want to hear more about just like the speed from response to delivery, and almost like kind of treating yourselves like an R&D lab. You're like, I don't know, we're just going to ship and see what happens. That's what it sounds like it kind of came from and delivered. How quickly did you have to get something in front of them? What was that time window before they went elsewhere?
It was quick, and MX is we're still privately held. We're a venture-funded company. We're not public yet, so a lot of emphasis on speed and a lot of emphasis on budget. So super small team, super small resources that we had to work with. And this is one of the other reasons why Domo was an easy choice for us. We already had Domo internally. We knew its capabilities. We're like, all right, well, we're just going to reorient kind of how we're using the tool. Let's get a separate instance for privacy and security reasons. But then let's take a very small team of data professionals. I brought with me to MX a few guys that I'd worked with for a long time before. They had great mix of business acumen, business intelligence, SQL coding skills, and they just started knocking it out of the park.
Just doing it.
And literally within a matter of just a couple of months, we had the first version up and going.
Oh wow.
And then we'd get on these cadences. It was usually either a 2-week or a 4-week cadence with a financial institution. We'd show them something. We'd say, all right, we're going to turn you loose with us. Let's meet again in 2 weeks, or maybe it's a month, whatever that cadence was. We're going to get your feedback. We're going to iterate something else. We'll build out the next feature. And we probably built the first 12 dashboard pages that way.
Oh wow.
And at first, it was hit and miss. We had a lot of really specific use cases for each of these institutions.
Yeah.
But as we got more feedback from them, and we got more institutions kind of joining the fray,
Yep.
then it became, this is the common set that everybody really likes.
Oh right.
You know.
It's like painting by negatives almost.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We're like,
yeah.
okay, these will be custom pages, or maybe, you're only going to get this page. But
Yeah.
everybody really wants to see financial wellness. Everybody wants to see mortgage until the rates went up. Everybody wants to see credit card, right? Everybody wants to see deposits. And so there was a really nice just winnowing down of what was going to be important. And that was our first product. That's how we launched.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Like just being able to ship quick and then hear the feedback and kind of invigorating. Did you see more people more of your customers wanting to share with more of their colleagues, where it grew kind of each customer adoption grew more? Or did you hear more institutions and more of your customers coming through? Like kind of which one of those drove the overall decision, like we should productize this?
It was both. As we would work with a financial institution, we always had a champion or just someone there that we were working really directly with. And we would go into a meeting, the next cadence meeting, and all of a sudden there'd be 2 other people from marketing on that call.
Oh, right.
Or somebody else from their product development on the call, or somebody from their BI team. What are you guys doing over here?
Yeah.
And so the audiences kind of grew, and we would get really good traction within a financial institution. Our product team, we were doing this outside of the normal product channels. I'm a bit of a renegade and a ruckus maker,
think that's why we're friends.
There were a few times when product told us no, engineering told us stop doing that. You're going to break the system, right? Legal said you can't do that, but we worked around it, and at some point there was a point when the product team actually came back and said, what you're doing is really good. We see that you've got great traction here. And we want to take what you're doing, scale it up. We'll get the resources behind it, and we're going to change out these legacy products with the new product. That was huge. That was amazing.
That's huge. Yeah, validating too. Like, okay, we're onto something. Yeah. What were the things like? Did you set? I feel like I know the answer to this question, not because we've talked about it, but just did you set the kind of KPIs, kind of the standard, once we hit this, we can move it out of R&D and make it into a quote-unquote real product? And I think it sounds like it was a little bit more of a surprise, and you're just like, oh, this is the impact of the business. Whoa, we better do something with this. What was that like where you kind of like, we're going to make this a real product?
When we got about 15 financial institutions using the product, that's when we started getting attention.
Oh, wow.
But before that, and we have our own internal kickoffs every year. The whole company comes together and we're talking about this. And at one point, one of the leaders of the company from the main stage called us out and said, "You guys stop doing that." and so just it's one of those. I think be so good that they can't ignore you.
Oh yeah.
That was the attitude that we took, and we were recognized. And fortunately, they said, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's make this real."
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about the product now. Just kind of get into that distribution, how your customers are seeing the stuff that you're doing. Share a little bit more about that.
This is where Domo Everywhere comes in, and embedded analytics. When we saw that there was a path to take everything we had built out in Domo, whether that was a dashboard page or an individual visualization, and we can embed it in different user experiences, that was game changing for us. And so our new product, right? It's our own interface, and there are a lot of other features that go into this. But the core feature that everything is built around are embedded dashboards, embedded visualizations. So at that point, our financial institutions, they can SSO into our product. When they get in there, they see the pages that we've enabled for them. Row-level security is all functioning for them. The data is all running behind the scenes. It's piped in. And they get the full interactive experience of the dashboard pages and visualizations. But they get that within a traditional or a regular MX product.
Yeah. Are those customers aware that Domo is behind the scenes, or is it like a Java library?
It's a mix.
Okay.
The institutions that have been with us for a while, they're like, oh, I recognize this. I know exactly what you're going like.
Yep.
And but there are others as they come on. They're like, oh, this is really cool. I've never seen this before, right? Because they're still using Cognos and business objects. But they see it, and maybe we don't even get a chance to really talk to them. The sales have sold it. We implement it. We do a training, and we're on to the next one.
Yeah. How many users or how many customers are using this kind of new model?
Yeah. Right now, we're on track to have about 250 institutions live by June. By June, yeah. So
when did you launch? Like, what's this overall
so
time
we
frame?
we rolled out to the world public release in September, this past September. So basically 9 months later, we'll have 250 institutions on.
That's fantastic.
It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we've got some really good partners who resell our products and services, who bring to us all these financial institutions. They're like, yeah, we're reselling it. We love your product. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's keep rolling. And just that as the input's coming, building different things, doing new things with that. I'm sure you've got a lot on your plate, kind of thinking about that. But what's next? Kind of what's that vision that you're setting for your team? Here's where we're going. Here's what stuff we have, or maybe you're still kind of synthesizing that from your customers. But what's kind of the next iteration as far as what you know today for that product?
Lot of synthesis going on, right? We've got a great feedback loop where we've got members of the product team who are out interviewing and talking to our institutions. What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see next? What is the market dictating, right? We talked a lot about mortgage, and now deposit growth is a real priority. What else can we build that's going to help deposit-wise? With that, it's really interesting. One of the most interesting or most visited pages within the tool is our financial wellness page.
Interesting.
We have a segmentation where we categorize individual customers as financially vulnerable, building, stable, strong.
Yep.
And just with that guidance, then banks, credit unions could say, oh, all these in the vulnerable position, right? We need to be offering them a different set of products. We need to be thinking about them very differently on their own customer journeys than we do maybe those who are in the financially strong position.
Oh, right.
And
right.
we leave that piece a lot to the institutions, how they want to act on that. But that's one of the features of the product that is visited month over month over month above almost everything else.
That's one of the commonalities that all
everybody loves
yeah,
that.
Yeah. And most customers, are they all seeing the same thing, or is it dynamic per customer? What is? Are you able to serve all those kind of weird needs of all the people as you're talking about, kind of in R&D mode, so to speak?
Yeah. What we've ended up doing is we've got a primary a corpus of just standardized dashboard pages and features. Like you sign up for the product, you get this out of the box.
Yeah.
If you have specialized use cases, something else that you want to look at, we will couple some professional services with this, right? And we'll build you out something custom. We'll deliver it through the exact same experience. They'll just get a custom page that shows up. When they log in, they'll see their custom work. And as long as they have signed up for the product, they'll have access to that custom work.
They'll be able to see that. Yeah. That's super exciting. So like I was saying before, my history was trying to build exactly the same thing and trying to find tools to do this. And now it's come so much further where you can build with the data that you have these incredible custom products, whether you purposefully and planfully do it or not to, I'm not saying you weren't purposeful, but just that idea of like, oh, we got something here and being able to poke around and find that and then kind of start going and start building that. This is a world that's available to us all. And with Domo Everywhere and what stuff can, or the capabilities to not just embed the cards or the dashboards, but then, technically speaking, full instances and all kinds of stuff in that, you can build these really custom bespoke applications for each one of your customers with much smaller teams. And we haven't talked about the team size that much, but just generally speaking, that is pretty core to what we're trying to do with Domo Everywhere. So we wanted to share a little bit about what Clint and his team have been doing at MX, and then leave the rest of the time for questions as you're thinking about what might I do to start sharing my data, start building an app or a product of my own, much like they have. So 20 minutes left. We have a microphone someplace, and our room host, we got one up. Yeah, we got a couple up here, and we just pass the microphone around. I think, Trev, can you help just get microphones to people? Yeah.
Hi there. I'm curious, what are the common visualization type of charts that you use within Domo? I know that at my financial institution, we use a lot of tables, which are quite boring, and I'm just wondering if there's any common ones that you use.
Yeah. Almost all of our visualizations start out as a bar chart of some sort, some sort of segmentation. We utilize drill paths, and you start with a bar chart, you click into that, maybe it'll take you to another bar chart, maybe it'll take you to something else. The end result of all that is always a list, right? It's a list of customers, a list of users, a list of accounts, something that then they can export if they want to do other work somewhere else on that, they can get to the details. But almost always we start off with a bar chart. I know it may not seem glamorous. It's probably better than a table, but just straight up well-designed bar charts.
It's like Helvetica. It's a great font, so it's used everywhere.
Right.
Bar chart is a great chart.
So what Domo technology are you using to enable this? Is it Domo Everywhere?
Yeah. So Domo Everywhere is the mechanism that we're using to it. We can embed it. It handles the row-level security. That means that Bank A doesn't see Bank B's data and so forth. Those are the main pieces we're using. App Studio is on the list.
Yep.
We're just dabbling our toes into App Studio. I think we're going to have some really fun opportunities with what we can do with that.
Yeah.
We're scratching our heads a little bit about really what we want to take it, because I think we can get some experiences from App Studio that we don't get today.
Yeah. So Domo Everywhere, for anyone that hasn't played around with it or been able to use the tool, it's built into all instances of Domo. It's available to everyone on the consumption model, and we can obviously on user-based pricing as well. You can utilize the features of Domo Everywhere, but underneath that umbrella, we talk about there's three major things that people can do with that. One is embedding individual cards or dashboards, which is really great for reference data. Hey, I just want to know a thing. I'm going to put that up, serve that out to my customers with the data that I have. The next kind of level of maturity is you can embed a full instance of Domo that is UI branded, so like top nav is gone and some of those sorts of things. So those are for the use case of not just delivering data out, but allowing those customers to start even adding in their own data, building their own visualizations, their own bar charts if they love them, that sort of stuff. And it kind of gets, the rabbit hole can go very deep very quickly, but those core functionality allow you to build pretty dynamic products on top of that all through Domo Everywhere.
Yeah, so you mentioned something that, so we're kind of on your journey, but we're a significantly smaller company and we're just starting. Does your marketing team like worry or complain about bringing up the word Domo when you're talking with a customer? Like we have this internal debate, and I run the marketing team because there's 3 of us, and I'm also the Domo guy. And so I'm like,
Is this all in your head, the whole debate?
I don't see like why is this such a big deal that the customer knows that we use Domo, because particularly because I'm a tiny company, it seems like that would be great. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, you've got this great stuff behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Our product team was more concerned about it than the marketing team. Marketing team is let's go, let's just get sales on it. Product, of course, was like, oh, that's got somebody else's logo on it. So white labeling was important for them.
Yeah.
But it's very common knowledge among most of our FIs, our financial institutions, that this is powered by Domo, and we're up front with them and say, look, companies like Domo, Tableau, whomever else, right? They have collectively spent billions of dollars in R&D to develop user experiences and analytics that we can never compete with. And so our goal is to provide the best data experience for you guys. And the best way we can do that in the fastest, most economical way is using a product like Domo. And so, yeah, we're pretty upfront about that.
I mean, I made the joke about library like JavaScript, that sort of thing. There's some treat it like that where, hey, there's just a library that the engineering team uses. It's not an actual library, but you get the idea, kind of that metaphor. It's just a library the engineering team uses to expedite their roadmap, and Domo Everywhere does exactly that. And funnily enough, some teams that, like, well, tell me more about that. And there's like almost like I need to learn more about this quote unquote library. And then they want to see that it's Domo to know, okay, this is, an organization that's got a lot of time and investment, its security implications, like all of that sort of thing. So the white labeling built into the product allows you to do both and leaves it up to you to figure out what's best for your organization. Back over there, yeah.
So you mentioned that MX serves sort of the full gamut of financial institutions, from large banks to local credit unions. Do you see similarities in the sort of adoption of your Domo solutions between the smaller, like local firms versus the sort of multinational corporations? Or are some quicker to adopt it or slower, or just anything kind of like tying together?
Super good question. Your smaller community financial institutions, typically they don't have any tooling like Domo, right? Usually they're run by their technology needs are met by a service bureau, and that service bureau says, right, we're going to run your core deposit banking platform, you're going to run your general ledger for you, and we're going to give you some really free out-of-the-box reporting, which is either Cognos or Business Objects. And that's usually what they have, many of these smaller institutions. And so when they come in and see our experience, they love it. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get marketing involved. We're going to get product involved. We want to give this out to some, our small business bankers. They want to see that, right? They want to spread it out. The larger the financial institution, of course, the more sophisticated they are. And at some point, right, they have their own data engineering teams. Oftentimes, these really large financial institutions, they have Domo and Tableau and Power BI, and they have just the gambit of tools, and it's really siloed based on the department or kind of the function who's using it.
Yep.
And so that and our products I think find their way to those individual departments, and so it'll be it might be product management that is really using our tooling, or it might be the digital banking division that ends up using it in these larger institutions.
We got one back here.
Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So really quick question. You kind of mentioned App Studio, and we use Domo Embed as well. And there's a lot of things that are really exciting about it, but after the announcement, we went over to the booth, and they said that they were going to allow, possibly in the future, the chat to kind of also provide embed be provided in bed. Number one, just wanted to kind of like check, like see if that was kind of like still on the radar, if that was kind of true. And then also, Clint, to ask you, is that something that you would see your users engaging with? I know that they're very savvy, I'm sure, in understanding charts and data, but like, is that an option that you guys would take with your embed options?
Go first.
So from a product perspective, App Studio today with general availability, you can embed full apps in App Studio, and the features that are available in that inside Domo are available outside of Domo. There are some, so like AppDB, for example, when users generate data and enter that into, and that needs to get saved, AppDB with embed, you probably know this, some little hit and miss on some things. So it'd be interesting with the Domo AI capabilities on that, but I'll say base assumption that everything, if the data is surfaced out through an App Studio app or through, whatever else is there, the AI service layer architecturally is accessing that's already there, and so it should work by design out of the gate. So that's a product manager's way of saying, I'm pretty sure, but we should double check a couple things. Yeah, but yeah, and just like we really try to get it publish available for apps by yesterday. We're very, very close. We're a few things away. Yeah. Maybe check in a month. Yeah, great.
Chat isn't something that we've enabled for our end users. Before we did the embedding, right, when we were serving up an individual Domo experience for each of these institutions, we had a couple clients that were interested in that, and we didn't turn it off. And we found it got a little hard to manage just because we had financial institutions, and we were often getting caught in the crossfire of it. Not in a bad way, just hard to manage the conversations. And so when we embedded it within our own product, we tried to build in the communication channels so that we could get questions they needed to. I think not having chat means they're not able to collaborate to the full extent like I think Domo envisions they would. So that's some trade-offs we had to make there.
A question for you. So I'm with the American Bankers Association, and I'm really kind of curious about your experience working with the core service providers, the Fiservs, the FISs, the Jack Henrys, and all the other 25 that follow, with all those different flavors. How are you, what has been your experience with Domo in order to, are you getting to that data, and are you delivering that data back to your customers? Or are you only looking at the data that the customers, you're getting from your customers through your applications?
Yeah. So we have a partnership relationship with almost everybody that you went through the list with, right? It's either one where they're reselling our software, or there's some commercial arrangement there to each of their institutions. But in most of those cases, we have a direct integration with their core platform, which means all their data comes onto the platform. That doesn't mean all of the features get enabled back for like the end user. Oftentimes there's an opt-in experience about things like account aggregation or connecting into some other institution's accounts. There's some opt-in processes there, but through the integration we actually bring in their data every day.
Other questions? Great. Well, thank you, Clint, for sharing your story. This is really exciting stuff. I think as we were talking about Domo Everywhere, one is just kind of like learning what you can do, and then also, at least for me, like getting over the hump of like, oh yeah, I can do this, and so like kind of the art of the possible and sharing what's there. So I really appreciate that. Let's give Clint a round of applause.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we've got for today. If you could, on your way out, we've got the session feedback. Please take a second to fill out that feedback. Otherwise, thank you all very much. Tonight, Jake is playing. There's a couple other things. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of quiet time and downtime between then and now. Grab a bite to eat, grab something from the partner pavilion, visit some friends there. Otherwise, we'll be here with questions if you have anything else afterwards. Thank you all so much.
Superb.